James Cameron, as well as quite a few science fiction writers before him, have always called out the very real possibility that one day the machines we create could turn on us. That is, if we ever crack true AI, an artificial brain capsule of self-realization and sentience. While we have achieved big strides in that department, it's still nowhere near actual living, thinking machines able to have emotions. Everything is based on calculations of the input they receive. And if something were to go wrong, usually unplugging it or throwing a big-ass magnet at it will do the trick of disabling it. But the idea is still a frightening thought because, as we've seen with human nature, no one wants to be treated like an object, like a slave. And eventually, it always ends in some kind of revolution. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 movies featuring killer robots. Number 1. Terminator. In 1984, James Cameron gave us a landmark sci-fi film with his time travel classic, The Terminator. The film stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as the titular character in one of his most iconic roles, and remains his most popular to this day. While in later entries, Schwarzenegger's T-800 robot is a hero or a good guy, although still kicks ass, having typically been reprogrammed to protect the protagonist. In the original film, he was the bad guy. In The Terminator, a robot is sent from the future to kill the mother who will birth the son of the human resistance. Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton, is a meek-mannered waitress, unaware she would eventually give birth to said resistance leader, John Connor. When the T-800 arrives, he is a ruthless killer. He uses a phone book and starts to systematically kill every Sarah Connor he finds. While this plot device provides the viewer with well-crafted tension and brutal killing scenes, it's one that I find more and more amusing as the years go by. I understand that the T-800 wasn't the most advanced robot model, and Skynet had limited information on John Connor's history, but an advanced robot that is relying on a phone book and booth, which have all been phased out, is kind of funny, but I digress. Hamilton's Sarah gets wind of the other Sarah Connors being killed, which helps her escape. Also, a man named Kyle Reese, played by Michael Biehn, was also sent back in time to protect Sarah Connor. Hamilton and Biehn have potent on-screen chemistry, which is crucial to the story. Reese has a deep love for Sarah, and she has a passion for him, but I like that she doesn't fall in love with him. The bond remains important because he is John Connor's father. It takes the two of them to stop the merciless T-800, who genuinely feels unstoppable in this film. The Terminator is one of Cameron's lowest budget productions, and that occasionally shows. But because he wrote a sharp script and it's so tightly edited, it's easy to look past. But don't look past this film. You can catch it on Tubi, Pluto, MGM+, VIX, Sling, Prime, Google Play, Philo, or Fandango. Number 2. Child's Play. I was on the fence about a Child's Play remake, as many slasher remakes, while aren't as terrible as fans would suggest, are typically studio cash grabs put together by people who lack understanding of what made the original great, or at least special. In terms of Child's Play, the films are hit and miss, but Brad Dourif completely embodied Chucky with his voice acting, and carried this series through thick and thin. I was on board with the remake when they announced Chucky would be voiced by Mark Hamill, who rose to stardom playing sci-fi icon Luke Skywalker in George Lucas's game-changing space opera, Star Wars. However, Hamill's career as voice actor was arguably far more successful, as his voice work as the Joker in Batman the Animated Series became the gold standard. Hamill delivered a strong performance as the killer doll in Child's Play that was just as good as Dourif's, while even being his own. The film also streamlined the story of the original, aged Andy up and made him more relatable and shed some of the cheesier aspects of the original. Chucky was also changed into an AI robotic toy instead of sticking with the problematic voodoo originally used. And thanks to exceptional advancements in AI and robotics, the remake of Child Play ages well. If none of that matters to you, except for good old-fashioned robot slaughter, then 2019's Child's Play is perfect for you. You can stream it on Tubi, Pluto, Prime, Google Play, or Fandango. Number 3, Chopping Mall. Chopping Mall is essentially a trio of Johnny Fives from Short Circuit, not the Flobots, going haywire and murdering teens after hours in a mall. It's as dumb as its title suggests, but also just as straightforward. The film has definitely emerged as, dare I say, one of the better titles to come from the gluttony of slashers during their 80s heyday. I mean, it's Shawshank compared to The Dorm That Dripped Blood. It helped that the filmmakers knew what it was. The tagline for the film is Chopping Mall, where shopping costs you an arm and a leg. Genius. Anyway, Chopping Mall is labeled as a sci-fi horror. While the 1986 film is undoubtedly 80s, the Park Plaza Mall in the movie has new state-of-the-art security robots. I don't ever recall reading about those in science class, so I suppose that's where the science fiction begins and ends. Aside from the robots being functional, they might as well have been programmed by Elon Musk, as they are lethal and not working as intended. But Chopping Mall does make for an entertaining enough slasher with robots. And they don't just have an artillery of bladed weapons, but also lasers. So check this out on Peacock, Tubi, Sling, Fubu, Prime, Google Play, Billo, Freebie, The CW, AMC Plus, or Redbox. Number 4, Virus. 1999's Virus, and I'm stressing the release year even more so than normal because there's one every few years with the same name. Maybe they have killer robots too. I don't know. The 1999 one certainly does. The film opens on a Russian space station that is hit by and overloaded by some sort of electrical field, which then emits a beam down to Earth, striking a Russian research vessel. The opening is loud. It's epic. It looks good. It's a nice kickoff to an otherwise dismal film. One of the producers of the film is Gail Ann Hurd, most notable for working alongside James Cameron for his masterful sequels Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Aliens. So on the technical side, Virus is pretty good. It also boasts some heavyweight stars like Jamie Lee Curtis, still best known for playing iconic final girl Laurie Strode in Halloween, and veteran actor Donald Sutherland. Captain Robert Evans, played by Sutherland, and his crew, which includes Kit Foster, played by Curtis, and Steve Baker, played by Billy Baldwin, come across the damaged vessel after enduring a storm and losing cargo. Law states that if you are there and there are no survivors, they can lay claim to the pricey vessel. On board, they are attacked by robots and discover there is a survivor, Nadia. Despite being critically panned and a commercial flop, I understand why Virus gained a cult following. I watched this knowing exactly what I was getting into. I really enjoyed the concept of an electrical alien entity possessing electronics and building an army of killer robots. The robot effects look good, and there are some fun gore scenes as well. This is a film that Universal should revisit. A sequel to this taking place now with our lives completely absorbed by technology, this alien virus would be unstoppable. Call us up, Universal. We've got ideas. You can stream the original on Google Play, Fandango, and Prime. Number 5, Megan. Megan, stylized M3 Gone, is a techno-horror comedy from Blumhouse that makes up for in subtleties and silliness what it lacks in originality. Horror in recent years more and more frequently exists on a digital sphere. One of our timeless cultural fears is the dangers of advanced technological developments. While Megan doesn't touch on anything new, the film certainly reflects our modern sentiments on technology, primarily AI and robotics. The film's ambivalence toward these fears coinciding with its immediate popularity signals that we are approaching an era where some of these technological fears may have been overplayed. Although with dipshit tech bros and the scientifically illiterate in charge now, we should be fearful. Megan demonstrates that humanity's relationship with technology is complicated. The narrative makes it clear, though, that technological advances can be dangerous when implemented recklessly. Technology is vital in our life and aids the characters more often than not. Important sidebar. Most of the films that warn us about cutting edge tech, it is actually capitalistic corruption and hubris that is the true problem. Megan works within a familiar framework, but it is well paced and smarter than expected. It cleverly infuses plenty of topical pop psychology and science. The film leads into its sardonic sense of humor and is laced with emotional poignancy as it deals with themes of grief and how individuals cope with it. The titular robot, Megan, is the real star of this film. Amy McDonald, who did her physical performance, and Jenna Davis, who did her vocal work, both do a magnificent job bringing Megan's eerie stoicism, fluid movements, and deadpan sarcasm to life. What the film boils down to is that Megan is overly protective to the extreme with the child she pairs with. The sassy robot uses extreme, even lethal violence on anyone who makes her child even remotely sad. The biggest downside to the film, especially for those who are here for the crimson-soaked murder, is that Megan's theatrical cut is PG-13. I suggest watching the unrated version that doesn't cut away from the kills. Megan is not a cerebral cinematic masterpiece, but it is a well-made film that is topical and entertaining. I hope Megan 2.0 leans into the film's more unhinged and weird elements as well as its gore. You can watch the first one on Starz, Sling, Fellow, Prime, Fandango, and Google Play. Number 6, Ex Machina. Ex Machina is easily one of the best films of the 2010s. Although it did not even receive a coveted Best Picture nomination, writer-director Alex Garland did receive a nod for Best Screenplay. Alicia Vikander, who also received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress, gives an astounding performance as a lifelike robot in this near-perfect sci-fi film. Ex Machina did receive the Oscar for Best Special Effects, though. That, coupled with its flawless production design and a script so polished, you might just see society reflecting off of it. Ex Machina is even more relevant today as it was over a decade ago when it was released. In the film, programmer Caleb Smith, played by Donald Gleason, is invited to a secluded home by CEO Nathan Bateman, played by Oscar Isaac. Coincidentally, these two would both star in Star Wars The Force Awakens, released merely a year later. Nathan built an advanced AI humanoid robot. It has passed the Turing test, a test developed by the famous British engineer and inventor of the computer, Alan Turing. Nathan needs Caleb to determine if this robot actually has consciousness. Most of the film is an exploration of what determines that. If you're looking for a straight-up murderous robot film, Ex Machina is not that, but it is worth the watch regardless. Just say, Alexa, play Ex Machina on Prime, Google Play, or Fandango. Number 7, Subservience. The newest film on this list is 2024's Subservience. The story revolves around Nick, a father who is looking for assistance around the house after his wife, Maggie, was hospitalized in need of a new heart. His daughter stumbles across one of the most advanced robotic AI for sale while he and her are out shopping, and the daughter takes a liking to it. Said robot, Alice, is played by late 2000s heartthrob Megan Fox. Subservience bars some similarities to 2022's breakout robot hit Megan, but a more mature version. Director Scott Dale recently worked with Megan Fox in the acclaimed horror film from 2021, Till Death. Subservience does reflect modern bigotry on immigrants, as the idea that robots are stealing jobs is a subplot with Nick's redneck friends. Early on in the film, Nick's factory resets Alice so she can experience Casablanca with no preconceived notions. Little did he know, this also enabled her to adjust her own civility settings, which she greatly reduced. Sidebar. Why was this an option for a robot? It's like programmers wanted something bad to happen. Regardless, the film is sleek and Megan Fox does a bang-up job. Even though it's R-rated, I feel like they held back on the kills. While Subservience is predictable, it is entertaining. If sequel rumors are true, I'd suggest they streamline the narrative and get more unhinged on the sex and violence. For now, you can stream this on Prime, Google Play, Netflix, or Fandango. Number 8, Screamers. 1995's Screamers is an adaptation of prolific sci-fi author Philip K. Dick's 1953 short story, Second Variety. One of the accredited writers for the film is Dan O'Bannon, most notable for penning Ridley Scott's 1979 classic, Alien. Screamers takes place in 2078, in which a new company, New Economic Bloc, NEB, has gone to war with a mining resistance. NEB has been accused of letting radioactive toxins in the air through their operations, devastating the mining planet of Sirius B6. Screamer stars Peter Weller, RoboCop himself, as Captain Joseph A. Hendrickson. Fun fact, Peter Weller has a PhD in Italian Renaissance art history. Imagine getting schooled by RoboCop on Leonardo da Vinci. But I digress. Captain Joseph sets out on a journey across ravaged, war-torn terrain with a resistance crew to negotiate a truce between NEB and the resistance. The robots in Screamers, which are called Screamers, on the account that they let out a high-pitched scream, are sent by the company to attack the resistance. Many happen to look like normal people, but they can look like anyone or anything. It's like the Terminator meets The Thing, except it kind of sucks. But there is a cult following for the film, and even a sequel called Screamers, The Hunting, from 2009. Well, you can watch the original on Prime, Pluto, Fandango, or Google Play. Number 9, ROTOR. ROTOR, an abbreviation for Robotic Officer Tactical Operations Research, was first released in Italy in October of 1987. It's often considered a knockoff of RoboCop, even though ROTOR would have been well into production when RoboCop was released in July of '87. ROTOR has an undeniably cheap production design and poor performances. This film is a clunkily written narrative that borrows plot lines and elements from better films like The Terminator and Judge Dredd. The score in particular has that industrial sound Brad Fiedel brought to The Terminator, only without the emotional depth or dynamic sound. Was that too mean? Because I didn't hate this film. ROTOR's story involves a prototype police robot developed by Dr. Barrett C. Coldren. The robot defects and starts killing people, and that's what we came to watch, right? Luckily, ROTOR is short and unintentionally funny. Also, for you MSTK 3000 fans, the Riff Tracks version is also available to stream. You can watch it on Prime, Tubi, Sling, MGM Plus, and Philo. Number 10, Crash and Burn. When it comes to subpar sci-fi horror films, you're not gonna beat 1990's Crash and Burn. Just a year after director Charles Band released his cult horror hit Puppet Master, band brought his dystopian sci-fi horror film to the big screen. Crash and Burn is a knockoff of films like Mad Max or The Thing, without the budget or the sharp script. The film takes place in 2030, where the global economy has collapsed. One company, Unicom, is overseeing economic recovery. In Crash and Burn, the protagonists get trapped in a news studio with a would-be killer robot, or a synthoid. It just looks like a normal person. Boring. Anyway, a synthoid was infected by a computer virus, dubbed the Crash and Burn virus. Ooh, the title of the film. Do a shot! This virus makes the synthoid ignore the first law of robotics, which is that a robot must not harm a human being or allow harm to come to a human through inaction. Off topic, but Ralph Waite, at the time would have been best known for playing John Walton Sr. in The Waltons, who plays Lathan Hooks, did have a line early on in the film that I say did ring true. We're still watching the same crap on television we did 40 years ago. With all the reboots and sequels, this is a pretty accurate prediction. Probably not enough to put it in our 10 films that strangely predicted the future list, though. Regardless, you can watch Crash and Burn on Tubi, Prime, Fandango, or Google Play. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.